Good afternoon, folks. This will be my second review of an ebook. It is a model build guide from KLP Publishing. The author and the builder of the models that are featured in this guide is Gary Boxall. I did a review of one of the KLP Publishing ebooks, also a build guide from Gary Boxall about 7 months ago. And it was actually one of the better performing videos on my little channel. And I was happy to do it. It was a very impressive guide. It was of the Wingnut Wings False D.VII. Anyway, I got an email yesterday from Gary, who lives in New Zealand, and said that he had finished his ebook, and it was now published, build guide of the Wingnut Wings Fokker D.VII, and would I like to do a review of it? It didn't take me long to fire an email back and say I sure would. And so a PDF file arrived last night, and I'll be doing a review of this second build guide. I received the PDF file complimentary. I received no instructions or guidance about anything that will follow in my review. So let's get started. All right. Well, during its time in production, Wingnut Wings released 6 Fokker D.VII kits from the 3 main wartime manufacturers. 4 of those kits were Fokker-built versions. While the kits in essence captured the differences between the different versions, there were still some minor and not so minor errors that can be easily remedied. And the aim of this guide, according to the author, is to highlight to the modeler some of the areas that can easily be improved to create a more accurate model by including some missing details or improving what is already there. Now, it just so happens that there are 2 builds that are in the build guide, one in very, very complete detail and the other showing the differences. And those actually happen to be based off of the 2 Wingnut Wing kits that I have. The Fokker D.VII Early Edition, and then the Fokker D.VII-F with the BMW engine, Hermann Goering, a later edition. Okay, I think I should say right from the start that the aims of the guide are achieved, and actually they're very modestly stated in that introduction, because this guide does a lot more than remedy some inaccurate details. It can be used by the expert modeler to up his or her game. It can be used by a modeler who has never built a Wingnut Wings kit and goes, well, I've heard about them, but they're way too complex. And this guide will take you through the intricacies and show how to avoid certain issues. And then it can be used by the middle of the road builder. I sort of put myself in that category, to pick and choose where one wants to up their game. And even for the most expert builder, it can be used, because there are things in here that are just absolutely stunning. And in terms of advice, how-tos, and then the overall production quality of the ebook is just amazing in terms of the level of detail, the photographs, and the ability to translate from the screen when you're looking at it. That's how to do that. Great. I can do that now. And I think it would give modelers, regardless of their skill level, a lot of confidence and encouragement about tackling a Wingnut Wings Fokker D.VII kit, no matter which one of the 6 kits they have in their possession. Well, to give you a sense of the amount of detail that is in this ebook, the entire book runs over 360 pages. Now that compares to a typical Wingnut Wings manual, which is pretty thorough, of maybe 20 to 24 pages. And so the guide is divided into a few parts: an introduction of the kit, a little bit of background about the author and builder Gary, and then the two bills are detailed in considerable detail. That's the bulk of the e-guide, and then there are some appendices. You can see there's a build of Gotthard Sachsenberg's aircraft. That is the yellow with the checkers, or diamonds, black diamonds on it there. And then the build number 2, which has the BMW engine, is the post-war Dutch Fokker D.VII, the sort of gray olive drab one there on the left. Okay, now, to just illustrate how thorough and how useful this guide is, let's start with the engine section and just look at the type of information one gets in terms of detailing various components. This is the Mercedes-Benz engine. In terms of zooming in closely, and then a descriptive of, removing rocker arms, cleaning up the top of the build. Very, very detailed arrows and markers to show exactly where one can put on scratch built or additional parts. This is something that basically is a Wingnut Wings manual on steroids, and that's not even doing this guide justice. So you see, as one goes through each section of the build, how Gary proceeded to modify, clean up, assemble various components. And this feature, and what I'm showing here as examples, are from the section on the engine. The guide generally follows the order of construction of a Wingnut Wings kit, which typically begins with doing the engine first. So this is a build-up, correction, cleanup, adding detail on the Mercedes-Benz engine. The most high-quality pictures one can imagine. They look even better on a high-resolution screen as opposed to what I printed out from my inkjet printer. So have you ever watched an expert modeler on YouTube zipping through and showing how they scratch built some amazing piece in detail for their aircraft or their car or whatever they were building? And you watch it 18 times and you marvel, and you still go back and watch it because, frankly, it's, you go, oh, that is incredible, but I could never do that. Well, when you actually get still pictures and see how the process goes to basically construct some drain cocks for the engine. Here, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then what they look like when they're attached to the engine. It's there they are. You can look at them. You don't have to keep repeating the video. It's all there in glorious living color on your screen. It's not going to move away from you. And Gary goes through the entire engine, every modification he made on the Mercedes-Benz engine with that sort of precision and detail. End result? Yeah. You get some beautiful pictures of what it looks like at the finish, and you actually know how it got there. And no, that isn't the real engine. That's Gary's model. And there you see the result. So that's the first section. I think that's about 60, 70 pages on that alone. And then you get to the cockpit interior build. And again, it goes component by component. And then, so that when you arrive at a picture like this, showing the seat, the floorboard, the control panels, you actually understand how each of those pieces was put in place, what was done to enhance the look when there was, or modify. And I have to tell you, for most of this stuff, watching it, I go, you know, I could do most of that. Maybe not quite as neatly. It would take me some practice, but now I can see how it's done. What's really good about this guide is that one of the many things is that you get these places where it basically reminds you about the importance of correct alignment and even the orders, you know, what to do, where to tape to make sure you've got everything squared and in place. Very important with a Wingnut Wings kit. As Gary writes, Wingnut wing kits are known for their tight tolerances, and so it often requires some sanding down in critical places to make sure everything fits. Now, we've all discovered that, those of us who have built Wingnut Wings kits, but it's nice to see it in practice and to see exactly how that was done. Very important hint, not hint, advice. It's always advisable to test fit the struts before committing to paint and glue. That's something one learns with a Wingnut Wings kit. It's really nice to see that demonstrated and to see a picture there. Do this and you will avoid a lot of problems. Skipping ahead, because this, you know, he builds the entire aircraft through in, you know, well over 100 pages. So here we're at the point where he's applying aftermarket aviatic decals to the first build, the Fokker build with the Mercedes engine. And there are probably 40, 50, 60 pictures of this as we go along. To show the concours level of skill that our author has here, that Gary has here, is zooming in to show how those decals look, and then you've even got straps there. No, that's not something I have ever achieved, but it sure is nice to know that the product itself can do that, and that there is a way to do that if you're willing to take the time and the effort. And I'm actually convinced that I could get almost that far along in the process by following this guide. So again, you know, advice in the process of what I always consider to be that moment of truth, putting the top wing on and getting everything aligned. Some very useful tips about how to keep things and ensure that you've got things squared away. And then at about page 200 plus, you've got a series of beautiful full-page pictures showing the first of the two builds. The second build isn't quite as extensive because there's a lot of overlap, but what he focuses on is where it differs, of course. A lot of that is in the engine compartment. But here, just to jump to the end, is the other Fokker D.VII, the one that was flown by the Dutch after the war. This has got the BMW engine in it, so you can see how that looks. In conclusion, I highly recommend this ebook if you are considering building a Wingnut Wings Fokker D.VII, or have one or two in your stash that you've been avoiding building. It doesn't matter what skill level you are. You're going to find something that is useful here. whether this was an ultimate wish list to be able to build a Wingnut Wings kit, or you're already a award-winning builder, you're still going to find things in here that you will find useful. The photographs, the advice are just first rate. I've learned a few things. Being in sort of that middle category of builder, there are things that I go, I'm going to do that next time. And in fact, I've still got my 2 Fokker D.VIIs to build. Some of these things I will be doing now because now I know how to do them. Others, probably not so much. Not because they're not doable, but it's just, my process of what I make a decision about when I build, which I think we all do. So I'm going to have a link to the ebook and the company. And everybody have a great day. And thanks for watching. And my thanks to Gary for remembering that I did a review a long time ago and asking me if I wanted to have another ebook to review. This one's even more useful because I haven't built the Fokkers, Whereas, and I wasn't intending to buy another false and still haven't, but they're really quality books. You will find from KLP, of course, other amazing build guides at their site. So thanks for watching, folks.